Hi guys, today is the 17th of April 2019 at 1:15 a.m. in the morning over here in the UK, and I have a more urgent warning to get out to you guys because it's for today, um, for the UK and for the East Coast, more specifically New York. The reasons for that are when I was rewatching the video I just uploaded to make sure that it could be heard once I uploaded it on YouTube. And I was at the point where I was talking about the number 5 in tally marks here, the X making 15, which was, 2 days ago now for me, and how this also looks like the number 4 if you add the 4 and the 5, the 4 and the 15 together. You've got 19, which is when I think the tsunami is going to be for the Vatican and Rome in that general area, all discussed in the previous video. If you haven't watched that yet, feel free to watch that one first. It's only 5 minutes or so, and then come back to this one. It'll make a lot more sense. The other number that I can see in there is the number 17, and obviously that's something that we can see elsewhere in this scene, which I'm going to get to in a minute. But just here, you've got the number 7 backwards and the 1 that goes through it. So it's an X, it's the number 4, it's the number 7, and it's also part of this missile or submarine that's coming out of this tsunami wave. And that's one interpretation there. So 17th of August, April, which is today, keep an eye out for a tsunami. I'll obviously be keeping an eye out for one because it's UK in this interpretation, and the East Coast, I think the whole East Coast should keep watch, but particularly New York because of the Big Apple reference. In this scene, I've talked about the shark on the board quite a lot, but I'm seeing it slightly differently now. Starting from the back, I usually start from like the head, talking about how the head looks like a pound coin symbol and blah blah blah. But here, I've got the number 1 going down the back, and then the number 7 making up the tail, so that's 17. And then what I think happens after that is it gives time references. So another 7, which I think is 7 a.m. in the UK, and then the number 2, which I think is 2 a.m. on the East Coast. That makes sense, obviously, because the UK and the East Coast are 5 hours apart, so 2 a.m. on the East Coast is 7 a.m. in the UK. So that flows in the time zone sense. And then I was thinking about the 8 teeth here, but I was thinking, what if it's just not referring to the number 8, but a series of 7s? And that again could just be telling us the number 2 and the number 7, as in 2 o'clock and 7 o'clock. And then you've obviously got the pound coin reference just here with the pound coin symbol reference with the line just here, and right in the middle you may be able to see, I'll zoom in some more, the L in the middle, which could be a time reference but could also reference London, which is pretty much where I think if a tsunami was to hit the UK and obviously London was affected, that would be the main city on the news. London is flooded, yada yada yada. Obviously I hope that doesn't happen because I live in London. I really wouldn't like that, but these are just my interpretations. So again, on Obama's foot, you've got either a reference to X and 7 or 1 and 7. Both of those, as I've referenced before, make up the number 17. Just for a quick overlay of interpretations, I believe someone like Obama wears Italian leather shoes. Now, that may not make any sense in an abstract way, but when you think about the foot being a representation of Italy, Italy shaped like a foot or a boot, being next to the apple, which in this interpretation represents an island with a volcano on it erupting. That could be Mount Etna or Stromboli. And then the tsunami wave, that all suggests Italy. And then obviously you've got the volcano on the apple, which could be Kilauea or Mauna Loa on the Big Island, and that's connected to Hawaii because Obama is from Hawaii. Ugh. And then obviously when the apple splits open, you have the reference to, I think, the number 21 and the number 8 in there as well, which is obviously the date that Hawaii received statehood, and I believe that would also be the date of the eruption from fissure number 8 on the Big Island. So many layers of interpretation. But again, the 1, or the part that makes up the X, whichever way you prefer to look at it, is made from the shadow of the leaf of the apple. So you've got the connection to the pound coin being the UK and the apple being the Big Apple, New York. 17th, that's today. Keep your eyes open. And just for one more extra kick, when I was looking at this scene here, we know that, I'll do it in a minute because I want to keep it on this frame for a second, but just approaching Big Ben is what looks like a tsunami wave depicted in a snowdrift. So the interpretation for that is a tsunami wave, or at least flooding as tall as Big Ben, enters in through the River Thames and then spreads out through the centre of London. The time reference up here, we've been able to see is not 12 o'clock, but actually 2 o'clock. And I was thinking, okay, if it's the UK at 2, then, you know, where's the 7? Where's the 7 o'clock reference? It's supposed to be 7 o'clock UK, 2 o'clock East Coast. And then it obviously hit me, just so obvious, but not until this point has it been so obvious, that 2 o'clock, when if you had the small hand in there, would also be an upside down backwards 7. 2 and 7. So that is clearly referenced multiple times over and over again. 2 and 7. So I think that is the time reference we'll be looking out for, and obviously there is the connection to the number 17, which, as I've said, is shown here on Obama's foot. It's shown here encoded into what is also an X for the number 10, the number 4, and also the submarine missile coming up out of the wave. For a clearer image, you can see that here it's just drawn around. And again, if you're looking for a reference to 2 and 7, there's the number 2, very clearly written when you make it this size. And obviously, as we talked about, the number 7 is just there backwards with the 1 going through it. So 17th of April, it could be the 17th of another month, but considering we just had all these connections to the 15th and the Notre Dame Cathedral, and I said in the last 2 videos that behind that, coming after that, is the tsunami wave. So 2 days after that, 17th, 2 AM East Coast time, 7 AM UK time, tsunami wave. And then 2 days later, 19th, volcanic eruption, tsunami wave, Italy, Vatican. And then 2 days later, on the 21st, Hawaii eruption, volcanic tsunami scenario. And from there, I think that's where we get into the whole World War situation, because then it's getting closer to the 30th of April, where the interpretations for nuclear launches and missile launches have been brought up, and I think that was in a video I posted, what was it, 4 days ago, I think. You can check it out on the channel. It's a warning, April 30th. So if that's the case, we have a sequence which is odd numbers: the 15th, the 17th, the 19th, the 21st, and the 23rd is obviously something we've seen quite clearly in the IPEC-02 video. They didn't even really try and hide that particular number, which I think may be a misdirection, but it's there, the 23rd, and boy, I hope nothing happens, but I'm gonna stay awake for the next 5.5 hours just to be on watch. You guys have a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and may the Heavenly Father bless you.